wanting to rock out with the Gibson Garage. To reach a sales associate, press 1 or say sales.
Thank you for calling the Gibson Garage. This is Cale.
Yeah, I was calling about the Collector's Choice series guitars.
If you can hang on hold for one moment. Hey, thanks so much for holding.
Yeah, the Collector's Choice, do you know anything about them?
I'm not super familiar with them. I don't believe they're currently in production.
Oh, okay. So you don't have a Baby Puke?
Which one?
There's a guitar played by a Nashville session player, 1958 Les Paul. It's named Baby Puke.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do not have any of those in, unfortunately.
Uncle Larry saw a birch believer fever going up over a well. Drunkle Larry got mad, Larry got mad. Drunkle Larry told his who'll go to hell. Larry is mad, Larry is real mad. Baby Puke is 58 sounds so bad, so bad. Drunkle Larry is a mad, mad man.
What's up, guys? How's it going? You got to see this, okay? Before I get to any burst believer fever stuff, you got to see this, okay? I was out in my front yard with the dog a couple nights ago, about 3 nights ago. And I look up in the sky and I see this long trail of lights. Okay? Long, long trail of lights. Now, my dad was a military fighter pilot, okay? I've seen a lot of aircraft, okay? Never seen anything like this, okay? I go to get my phone. Don't have it on me. So normally I just go, well, look at it and maybe describe it later. I said, no. I gotta get this on tape. So I ran inside, got my phone, came back out and started recording this thing. And it's a long column of lights that's perfectly in sync with each other. They don't go in and out like this. They're just straight up and down. And I'm telling you, from the distance these things were from me, they were in our atmosphere. This thing must have been 100 miles long. I mean, amazing. So I ended up getting a pretty good video of it. Check it out. Now, in my videos, I've been saying that, you know, these old guitars ain't that great. These Golden Era Les Pauls ain't that great. Now, I made a video about Jason Isbell getting ripped off for $650,000. Okay. Now, after I made that video, some dude named Tom Bukovac got on my video and commented, and then he made a video about me. Okay. And he said in his video, he literally says, this guy's talking about me. So I went back to the Jason Isbell video. Okay. And I watched the whole thing, every second of it, because I'm going, I don't even know this guy. I don't even know this guy. How am I going to mention him in a video? I don't even know him. Never heard of him. So I watched the Jason Isbell video, right? Every second of it. And there's not one mention of Tom Bukovac in it. Not one. But yet he makes a video about me going, well, he's talking about me. No, I'm not, Tom. I don't even know you. I don't even know who you are. Okay? So in my last video, my Burst Believer Fever video, let me see if I can find it for you. in my last Burst Believer Fever video, okay, I talk about Tom in his videos. Now he's become part of my he's basically the poster boy for Burst Believer Fever. He has Burst Believer Fever almost more than anybody on the planet. He really believes that these old guitars sound great, which is fine. There's no problem with that. Except we have empirical evidence that shows, well, maybe not, dude. Maybe not. You know what's interesting is when that guy, what's the guy that fixes the guitar's name? Not Gruhn, but I'll think of it in a minute. Anyway, when this guy, he was building a bridge for Tom, some kind of bizarre, kind of tilted bridge to keep an old guitar in tune, because the old guitars don't stay in tune, by the way. So he was Glazer, Joe Glazer, that's his name. He was building this bridge with Tom. And he said when Tom was doing a test on the new bridge, he always picked the vintage bridge. He said it was better. Even though this guy went out of his way to do research and development and cast this thing and make this thing and tool this thing and create this specific bridge to keep a Gibson in tune. Once he did it and they did a test, Tom always said the vintage one sounded better. So this Joe Glazer goes, wait a minute, let me blindfold Tom. So when he blindfolded Tom, right, and Tom was listening to it, he picked out the new bridge now. So Joe Glazer said, well, obviously there's a sight prejudice. When he's seeing an old vintage guitar in his hands, he thinks it sounds better. But when he's blindfolded and he's just listening, he thinks the new one sounds better. So it's a bias. It's a fever. It's a delusion. It's a illusion. It's a bias towards this idea that these old instruments are better when they're not. Okay, and that's what I'm talking about in my videos. But Tom gets on there and insults me. That's all he can do. He never actually brings up any point about these old instruments. Never. All he can do is insult me when I say, well, I don't know. So he ended up with this comment here. This is great. You're going to love this. He says, I've been forged in fire. So he's basically saying, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about because you haven't been forged in fire. I've been forged in fire. That's Tom's claim. Okay. And the narcissism, guys, the narcissism, the absolute narcissism of this guy. I said, forged in fire, Tom, what, playing on a Wynonna Judd tour? You learned Wynonna Judd songs? You're playing on the most simplistic, in the modern day, you're playing on the most simplistic country pop music that there is. You're playing on the most simple music that's around, that consists of nothing more than a 3-chord change through every song that you've ever played. And you've been forged in fire? So I looked at some videos of Blackbird Studios, where Tom was forged in fire, where Tom gets forged in fire. This is an example of him getting forged in fire. Look at this.
This is a big moment. Like I felt that like coming up and like, yeah. So we'll try a couple. Let me hit you there.
There's Tom getting forged in fire. He's sitting in a $1,200 office chair, an ergonomically designed office chair, no headphones on, sitting comfortably in a ergonomic office chair in a room that's air conditioned to 72 degrees, and he's listening to a producer guide him on what to play. And that's Forged in Fire, Tom? That's Forged in Fire? I was playing a club called JR's Light Bulb down in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And there was a band there that was opening that I was playing with called Day Room. Okay. And we were out back smoking weed, whatever. And the guys go, yeah, man, that's our new van. I go, oh, that's cool. Good, nice looking van. They go, yeah, man, it's real comfortable. They open up the sliding door. Yeah, look at this seat. It's real comfortable. I go, yeah, man, it's good looking van. You put the equipment in the back? Yeah. Put the equipment in the back. I go, wow, that's cool. Okay, cool. He goes, yeah, man, the one we had before this, it was just a cargo van. And we put all the equipment in the back, and then we would sit with our back to the equipment and our legs up to our chest with our arms around them. And we'd sit side by side in the back of the van, all three of us. And we did that for 2 years. Did you hear that, Tom? These guys sat in the back of a van, holding their legs up to their chest like this, with their back against the equipment with no seat in their van for 2 years to play their music, their original music, to play with their band and tour around the country. And you're sitting in an air-conditioned studio in an ergonomically designed office chair getting forged in fire. Let me give you another example of Tom being forged in fire here, guys. This is great. Tim Pierce makes this video, right, of the best, Mr. Tom Bukovac. See, this is the thing with narcissism. Narcissists can absolutely convince you of anything they want to. They can manipulate the situation to make it seem like anything they want to. They can make it seem like they're the greatest person in the world, right? They're the most kind person in the world when they're really mean. They can make it seem like they're the most generous person in the world when they're very self-centered and stingy. And Tom has pulled the wool over a lot of people's eyes, man. Not mine. Listen to this. So here's a guy talking. I don't know who this guy is. I guess he's a producer or something. Listen to what he says.
This arpeggio, 3-note arpeggio, but just an incredible, simple part that totally works.
So Tom plays a quote-unquote arpeggio. I don't even know if this guy knows what an arpeggio is, right? But he says a 3-note arpeggio. I call that a triad, okay? But let's say he's playing 3 notes. Very simplistic, very simply. He's playing 3 notes, okay? This is how Tom's forged in fire, everybody. He's playing 3 notes, okay? Now listen, this is where he gets forged in fire.
Yeah, then it'll be like, all right, stop. Let me give you another one. All right, here's another choice. And then it'll be like those 3 notes, just shuffle. One, the high ones, now the low one, and
so now Mr. Forged in Fire, Tom Bukovac, has moved. Hold on, let me illustrate this for you. This is a 3-note arpeggio that Tom played. Arpeggio, I call it a triad. 3 notes. Tom's played 3 notes now, guys, right? Now, this producer, whoever he is absolutely amazed because Tom moved one of the notes. So the notes were G, B, and D because Tom's probably in G. He plays in G more than every country song is in G. He's played in G. So he's forged in fire by playing in the same key thousands of times, right? That's forged in fire, playing the same key over and over again. He moved a note in a 3-note pattern. Here's a 3-note pattern, G, B, and D. He moved a note. Oh, hold on, Tom. You moved one. So you had 3 notes in this order, and then you moved one of the notes. You really are forged in fire. You had a triad, a G, B, and D, a major triad, a G of a G chord, right? Basically a G chord, a G triad, G, B, and D major, G major, right? And you moved this note that was on the top, this G note that was on the top was a root note. You moved it to the bottom. That's incredible. So there was 3 notes there, and you moved one of them. Yeah, Tom, you were 100% forged in fire. Just absolutely forged in fire. Incredible. And these guys are on a video calling him the best of the best. He moved one. Tim Pierce is in the background like, wait a minute, let me get this straight. He played a triad and he moved one note of the triad. This guy's, he moved a note. There was 3 notes and he moved one. He moved it from here to here. Tim Pierce is like, okay, well, I'm getting a lot of views on this video, so I really don't care, but he moved one note. Oh, and Tom's forged in fire. Look at Tom. He's, yeah, I moved a note. And you thought I did something. And I got paid. And I'm making a video that I'm the best of the best. That's the narcissism, people. That's the narcissism. Now, there's a Trogly episode here of the PAF. See, now I have a problem with these PAF pickups being called the best pickups, in the world, and people are charging thousands of dollars for these pickups. I have a problem with that because there are pickups being made right now that sound as good or better than any PAF ever made. And these PAFs are supposedly the sound, and part of that golden era is the PAF sound and this and that. When you look at the PAF, okay, it's a double coil pickup. It was never called the PAF. It was called the humbucking pickup, a humbucker, not a PAF. This was a term that was added later by people who were trying to market pickups, right? People were trying to get you to pay a whole bunch for a pickup. They have to distinguish one humbucker from another. So somebody came up with the idea of, hey, we'll call it PAF. I heard it was Seymour Duncan actually came up with this idea of calling it a PAF pickup, patent applied for, which is just a sticker on the bottom of the pickup. Well, before they did that, they made the pickup. So in a 57 Goldtop, there are these pickups that don't have PAF written on them. I'm sorry, there's no PAF sticker on them because they hadn't applied for the patent. They were just making them for the first time, right? Gibson invented this pickup, the humbucker, okay? So this guy is doing a Goldtop conversion. He's taking it from one of these guitars that look like this.
For a Bobby Fender acoustic for a ridiculously low price. Reverb's got the best deal on the internet.
In the top, so that gives you a clean.
That looked like this with this tailpiece on it. So now he's got to take these pickups out. He's got to move the tailpiece down. He's got to put in an ABR1 bridge. He's got to basically change this whole piece down here from the trapeze from this into this, right? And he changes out the soap bar pickups into PAF pickups, right? Or I'm sorry, pre-PAF pickups, because they don't have PAF written on the pickup yet. Okay. So one of my things here with this is you're doing this. Why? In other words, if this was a historical guitar, if this was just for history purposes, if this was just that's what people are claiming. Oh, it's a collector's piece. It's historical. You've wiped out every piece of historical value off this guitar. You've changed the tailpiece. You've drilled in new bridges. You've filled in the holes. You've taken out the original pickups. You have destroyed the historical value of this guitar by doing what he did to it. But you think it sounds great. That's why you do it, because you think it sounds fantastic. You think that these guitars are the best sounding guitars ever made. Otherwise, why would you do it? Because you destroyed you absolutely 100% destroyed the value of the guitar. So now Trogly gets on here and he actually gives us some sounds of this guitar, right, so we can hear it. Okay? And let me tell you something. These pickups, these PAF pickups, these early PAF pickups, they sound like garbage. They sound horrible. This is not a sound that you want. And I'm not knocking Trogly. I'm not knocking the guy who made these, who's trying to sell this guitar for $54,000. I'm not knocking this guy for trying to sell this guitar for $54,000. Okay? I'm just saying it don't sound that good. Listen. There's a high pitch ringing in this. There's a high pitch ringing in this over the top of it. If you listen to it, it sounds like garbage. It's like a high pitch ringing. And people are in the comments because, once again, remember how I told you about how Tom, when he could look at the guitar, he chose the vintage guitar every time because he's biased. Now, you've been told this is a PAF, this is an early PAF, this is the greatest sounding pickup ever. And then in the comments, those early PAFs are truly magical. Great job. What a beauty. I don't know what to say. This guy's not even listening to the actual guitar, because if you listen to the guitar, you'd be like, it sounded absolutely glorious. That sounded glorious to you. Okay, remind me never to go to one of your shows, dude. Never. I will never go to one of your shows. If you're playing that guitar at a show, I won't go listen to it. Okay? Those PAFs are running hot. Sounds awesome. They sound horrible. They sound horrible. Just listen to them. Just listen to the pickups. Listen to the high-pitched ringing that's coming over the top of these pickups. It's not the sound of the guitar. There's some ringing that's going on, an overtone that's created either with the guitar or the pickups that is absolutely unbearable. Listen. No, absolutely not. All right, guys, that's it. I'll see you next time.